welcome back to Long Bed Make Cab. It's Jess from Alaska. Alright, got a new video here for you. I'm going to be covering the repair of this 8-foot bed. I picked this bed up off the marketplace for $100. Couldn't really find anything out there that wasn't too expensive or in decent shape in which to use on this project. And since I've got some body work coming up on the Mega Cab body itself, I figured why not start out with something a little simpler and try my hand at it. So this is not going to be so much a how-to because I've never done it before, but hopefully after maybe seeing me do it, those of you that are pondering maybe doing the same thing will give you the confidence to maybe try it on your own. I got this bed off a 2004 2500, and I've got it sitting on a pallet and a large crate that I had around the house. Had some casters I mounted to the bottom, that way to roll it around inside the garage and have the maneuverability to work on it as I go. And I did get the idea after watching some videos by a gentleman named Johnny Midnight. He's got a channel, Midnight Body and Paint, so check him out. Got great content, and a lot of what I've kind of picked up has come from watching some of the stuff that he does. I'll put a link to his channel in the description, as well as in he's a featured channel in my channel of somebody I've subscribed to. Anyway, I'm going to get this cleaned up and we'll continue on from there. Okay, so I just got done just grinding that up a little bit, using the wire wheel to clean it up, and you can see exactly how much more rust damage there was on this thing that you couldn't see behind the paint and just the flakes holding everything together. Also, when I cleaned that out, there was so much mud and stuff up there, which you can see on the floor here, that the body panel on the bed actually popped kind of back in. There was so much mud stuck up there above that inner wheelhouse. Anyway, I'm going to get this thing set up here, clamped in place, and just kind of give it an outline so I know exactly where I want to cut and where I'm going to go with this. All right. Well, I think we kind of got it in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm just actually going to take a Sharpie and trace around it just to see the entire coverage area, figure out where I want to cut it out, and start making some cuts, get this thing somewhat close. Okay, so we got it all traced out. I'll see if, I don't know if you can quite see it there. Well, we'll bring you in so you can see where I traced all the way around everything. All right, so now I have a pretty good idea what the area will cover for my replacement panel there. Just all the research that I've done on wheel arch repair and everything is that you don't want to have right angle corners when you put stuff in place because of the tension it causes with the heat. It could actually warp the panels in the body. So I am going to round these corners off. And then because the rust damage doesn't go all the way down, I'm probably going to come up a little bit short on this side, just so I don't have as much welding to do. Anyway, I'm going to start getting cutting. Now I got that panel laid out and marked where I want to cut it. You may not be able to see, but we'll take you in a little bit closer so you can see. There, I did a radius at the top, and I went down 12 inches, and I'm going to cut off right there so you can see on both sides. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this panel down. I'm going to go ahead and get it cut out, and then I'm going to lay it back up on here so I can mark out exactly the pattern I want to use, trace it on there to cut it out. As you can see, got that panel cut. Now I'm just going around the outside. I'm going to mark it, and then I can start cutting away the body panel. Well, I have it all marked up. I scribed it all the way around our new panel. So let's take her down and start cutting. The one thing you do want to remember is when you start cutting is that you want to stay on the inside of your marked line, not to the outside, otherwise you'll end up with a big gap between the actual body panel and your replacement panel. All right, so let's go. I'm going to be using my totally custom Turtle Beach former gaming headset ear protection. Not too bad. I might have cut it just a hair short on the inside, but I'd rather be narrow than long. And now we can see this inner fender and get to work on taking that apart. Got a couple little supports in there I need to unbolt first. But I'll get that taken care of real quick, and then we'll get into taking this inner wheelhouse section off. Okay, so I got the little support straps unbolted, and then it still had a piece of the plastic for the inner fender wheel. I'd take that out. Anyway, there you can see this, the outer section of the inner wheelhouse, and a good portion of it's rusted away there, pretty bad shape. But if we look at that and then look at the new one, what most of it's missing is this bottom section here. This is what actually welds to the inside of the fender, outer fender lip, and we'll have to punch some holes in this when before we go to weld this up. And then if you look on the inside here, this is the seam where the inner and the outer wheelhouse meets, and it's of course welded on the inside there. So I think what we're going to do here is just cut across the top of this one inside to expose the inner section, and then what I'll do is just kind of drill out to get that last section of the lip off there. But once we get that off and all cleaned up, then we can look at punching some holes and getting it tacked in place. So let's go cut this thing off. Okay, got that all out. I'm going to clean this up a little bit with the wire brush and then see if we can't start drilling, and maybe it'll just be easier to end up with the chisel and peel it off that way. We'll check it out and see how it works. As you can see, got this all wire reeled out, and there's about 20 spot welds on that little thing to drill out. So that's what we're going to do next. Just to give you a look on the inside in here. These were the little supports that actually bolt up onto this section here, help hold this fender tight down here. Those are the things I had to take off. There's cutting on each side. And now you can look at the inside of a bed. You can look back down in there. You can see where some of the dirt and stuff accumulates and collects, and that's where you end up with rust. Anyway, the area up here actually is pretty good. I don't see just some little surface rust, but still real good shape. So we'll clean that up as we move along before we weld everything up. So anyway, let's get to her. I'm going to start doing some drilling and pulling that stuff out, and then maybe this little piece I take off I can use as a template for the new piece for punching holes. I went ahead and center punched all those little tack welds and drilled them out, and I'll take you on a little tour here. So I didn't drill all the way through, just most of the way through the metal there, just enough to break that weld, but still leave the material behind to weld to it so I'm not blowing through. So next I'm gonna take this off and see if we can't line it up and transfer it with our new piece to punch holes for welding. Okay, got her off. Not bad. We'll just kind of straighten her out a little bit and see if I can't kind of lay it out on this new piece and punch some holes in there. For getting this out, I used a 3/8 bit just to go much as I could through this, but try not to go too much into the back layer. As you can see, basically just kind of took a chisel, pry bar, and a hammer, just punch through those welds and pop this thing off. So we'll get this thing laid out on our new piece, and we'll get in here and take the wire brush and grinder, clean this all up, smooth it up, and get it ready to attach. Got this all cleaned up in here, ready to put our new piece on. Now I did take the old piece, mount it on there, and basically get the approximate location of all the little spot welds. You don't have to do it. The metal don't care. Pretty much anywhere you want to pop a hole in there, feel free. One thing that I do have, and I've had this for years, and this is the first time I've had to use it in a long time, little hole punch. Got a crimper on one end, put a seams, and punch holes in the other. I got this at Harbor Freight years and years ago. I don't even remember how much it cost, but not that much. Basically, pretty simple. Just slap her on there. And you got yourself a hole. Now this one's only got a 1/4 inch inset. You'd be better off getting something that had maybe a 1/2 inch if you do get one. Or you could just drill the holes. Now, since this does set pretty low, I'll probably drill a few extra holes in here just to get some tacks up high on this thing when I put it in. But that's all there is to it. Anyway, I'm gonna get these holes put in here, kind of get this clamped up, and get the fender space there all cleaned out, and get the new skin sitting in there pretty good, and kind of get it all fit together before we start tacking and welding and all that. And when we get back, we'll talk a little bit more about that and talk about welding and welders real quick. Well, as you can see, I got everything fitted and cleaned up. So right now I just got this clamped in place. I'll get it down so you can take a look at the inside before I do anything else. All right, so got a pretty good fit on everything so far. Just got this clamped in place right now. Getting ready to weld that in the next step, get it tacked in, get the outside. So I got everything cleaned out here. Wire brushed everything out here, got up here as best I could. And then I'm gonna be kind of coating everything with rust neutralizer. Just to hopefully extend its life a little bit as we move forward. But once I get that all painted up with the rust neutralizer, I'm gonna put some paintable primer or weldable primer on there. And once I get it all done, I'll start tacking. All right, now you can see I've got all the interior sections done with some POR, some paint on rust, just to help seal it up and hopefully prevent any future rusting here in the near future. I don't expect too many problems, and we'll finish it off with some more pour once I'm done with everything. So next step, I'm gonna get it set up so we can go ahead and get that inner wheel well tacked up. So this outer section of the inner wheelhouse has been clamped in place. We're ready to start welding it in. But before I do, I wanted to go over welding real quick. So you see the top machine here, the red one, this is my Lincoln Electric SP140T. It's 125 watt. It's actually a 110 volt plug-in, but it works really well. Primarily, the most I can really run on it is 035 outer shield or 025 hardwire. So for the case of this, I'll be using the 025 hardwire for the truck because we're just dealing with an 18 gauge metal. But it's actually a really decent welder. I've welded much heavier and thicker steel with it. You just have to make sure you got it cranked out to the maximum amps, and you do have to heat stuff up and preheat it before you do so. So if I ever have time when I'm using it to weld heavier gauge stuff, I'll preheat it with my torch, get it nice and warm, and I don't have a problem burning in and maintaining good welds. The bottom one actually is something I got off, I saw on Amazon, went to the store. It's a Vevor or Vevor, V-E-V-O-R. It's actually a 3-in-1 plasma cutter, arc welder, and TIG. Now I did plan on doing some TIG welding when I did this, but I haven't had a chance to play around with it yet, and I've never TIG welded, so I do need to tinker before I start welding here on the truck. So maybe future videos I'm doing some body part replacements or whatever, and I've fired up and got the knack for it, maybe I'll be able to cover some of that for you. So anyway, let's get this thing tacked in and continue on with our build. All right, so we got her tacked up there good enough. I'm gonna get this outer fender kind of set in there and make sure everything's lining up okay. But we'll keep you tuned in as we keep moving forward and start tacking up everything. So we've got the panel in place now. I'm just gonna go start around and start tacking it in there, just making sure the panel is flush with the body. We're back. Sorry about that. Had to edit the video there. Got interrupted. Someone came in. Anyway, as you can see, got it all tacked up all the way around. Now all I'm just going to do is go ahead and tack, move my way around so I don't get too much heat in one spot, and move my way all the way around it until it's welded up, and then we'll do some grinding. So I'm gonna get after it, and we'll be right back. All right, and now we've got this thing all welded up. Like I had mentioned, just the tack welds all the way around, continuous, until we get it all welded up, keep the heat down, and then avoid warpage. So anyway, looks pretty good right now, and next is gonna be the grinding. Generally, with this thinner stuff, I like to use these little flapper discs, little sander discs. These ones here are a 3M and an 80 grit. And they do a really good job, but they do take some material away, so just be careful. You don't want to grind down too far. And then once I'm done, I'm probably gonna, on my little Orville sander, 6-inch, I'll probably put some finer grit, just kind of smooth it out a little bit. Take a look and see if we have any warpage. But other than that, looking good so far. I'm not seeing anything looking down the body as far as any warpage, and not a big deal. We're gonna end up putting some body filler on this anyway and sand everything down to blend everything in before we do paint, so I'm not too concerned about it. So, be right back. Well, we're all done with the grinding. Got everything kind of polished off and smoothed up. Next part's just gonna be body filler and sanding and just smoothing everything out. But that will be on a different video. I'll cover that one. Not sure when that one's gonna be. For now, it's gonna be rinse and repeat. Let's get the other side done. What did I learn? Well, for me, using the hard wire on this, if I would have gave myself a little bit more gap on the butt joint there on the butt weld. I did a pretty tight gap for the whole thing, so it left my weld sitting up a little bit higher. So I don't know if I'd go with 1/16, maybe. Maybe on the next side I'll do a 32nd of an inch kind of gap all the way around. So I get good penetration, but it'll lay the weld a little bit flatter, and a little bit less grinding and sanding. But other than that, looks good. I'm happy with it. And it'll look like a brand new bed once we're all done. So anyway, if you like the content, please subscribe and like. Ask a question if you got any. I've had quite a few people ask some questions, especially on the interior color change. So anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day.